Have you ever stopped to think that everything you know about the universe might just be the tip of the iceberg? What if I told you that the greatest secrets about space aren't hidden among the stars, but locked away in government vaults, buried under conspiracy theories, and shrouded by years of geopolitical rivalries? Sounds far-fetched? It's not. From the Soviet Union's epic space exploration missions to NASA's actions that sparked controversies and suspicions, what we know today might not even scratch the surface of the truth. The space race was never just about science. It was a power game where secrets about Mars and Venus, revolutionary technologies, and even theories about alien life were cloaked in mystery. Have you ever wondered why so many discoveries were kept under wraps for years? Or why certain events from the past seem to have a cloud of conspiracy hanging over them? Don't worry. You're about to take a deep dive into this universe of revelations and thought-provoking questions. And here's the best part. Uncovering these secrets won't just satisfy your curiosity. It will help you understand how these events shape the world as we know it today. Ready for a journey that goes beyond the stars and into the darkest corners of history? Let's begin. The Soviet Union didn't mess around when it came to the space race. While the rest of the world looked to the United States as the heroes of space, it was the Soviet Union that first opened the door to the stars. Remember Sputnik I? That little satellite launched in 1957 wasn't just the first man-made object to orbit Earth. It was also the loudest statement that the Soviets were leading the charge. Imagine hearing Sputnik's beep-beep over home radios worldwide. It was the audible proof that the Soviets had left the rest of the planet in their dust. It wasn't just Sputnik that made an impact. The Soviet Union also brought the legendary Laika, the first living creature to orbit Earth, into the spotlight. But hold on, it wasn't just about dogs and satellites. The Soviets heavily invested in exploring planets like Mars and Venus. These monumental steps made the country the true pioneer of the cosmos. While the Americans geared up for Apollo, the Soviets were already gathering classified information about Venus and Mars that wouldn't be revealed for decades. What's even more fascinating is that despite all these achievements, much of the Soviet Union's discoveries remained hidden, like buried treasure. Many secrets only surfaced after Glasnost, the transparency policy of the 1990s. Imagine classified documents detailing Venus and Mars being unveiled. These files not only showcase Soviet technological prowess, but also challenged everything we thought we knew about space. Intriguing, right? And that leads us directly to the next point, the mesmerizing explorations of Venus through the Venera missions. The Venera missions were like love letters sent by the Soviet Union to the enigmatic planet Venus. Each probe carried a treasure trove of scientific instruments designed to unravel the mysteries of a world that seemed so much like Earth, yet had an atmosphere that could melt metal. Venera 1 was the first attempt, but it was Venera 7 that made history in 1970 with the first successful soft landing on Venus, sending back precious data about atmospheric pressure and temperature. Picture a probe enduring the scorching heat and for 23 minutes, sharing secrets about that hellish world. But the crown jewel of the series was Venera 13. In 1982, this probe not only landed but also captured the first ever color images of Venus's surface. The photographs revealed a surreal landscape, with rocks that looked hand-painted and terrain that resembled a haunting work of art. This wasn't just a technological feat. It was a window into a world that seemed unreachable. And here's the kicker. These images still spark debates among scientists today. A prominent Soviet expert even claimed the photos might show evidence of alien life, a suggestion met, of course, with skepticism. The Venera missions taught us that the cosmos is a realm of extremes and enigmas, where every piece of data raises more questions than answers. For instance, Venera 13 managed to survive over 2 hours under conditions once thought impossible, providing invaluable clues about Venus's atmosphere. Yet, despite the groundbreaking data, many of these missions' records were kept secret for decades. It leaves you wondering, what else have we been told? And now, we turn our gaze to the next chapter, the hidden mysteries of the red planet Mars. Mars has always been humanity's dream planet, but the Soviet Union turned those dreams into missions. With the Mars 3 mission in 1971, they achieved a historic milestone, the first successful landing on the Red Planet. Although the probe only transmitted data for 20 seconds before losing contact, those brief moments were enough to cement the Soviet Union as a trailblazer in Martian exploration. Think about it. Humanity's first look at Mars came from a Soviet machine. Did you know they even had a small rover on board? A vehicle designed to explore Martian soil, even if it never left its base. The fascination with Mars didn't stop there. Even before Mars 3, the Soviets had been trying to reach the planet with missions like Marsnik and Zond. Despite numerous failures, they persisted. Each attempt taught them more about tackling the challenges of sending a spacecraft millions of kilometers away. Mars seemed unattainable, but Mars 3 proved otherwise, even if only briefly. The Soviets were determined to uncover signs of life, and some of the data collected hinted at the planet's atmosphere and potential past water presence. And what about the theories surrounding these missions? Some speculate that Mars 3 lost contact due to a dust storm, while others suggest something mysterious might have happened on Martian soil. The truth is, these secrets about Mars remain shrouded in mystery, fueling the curiosity of scientists and enthusiasts alike. And while Mars keeps its answers hidden, what about the conspiracies involving not just the Soviets but also NASA? That's where our journey takes us next. Conspiracy theories. It seems space isn't just a vast void, but also fertile ground for stories that defy logic. One of the most famous involves NASA's live broadcasts. Ever notice how, from time to time, these broadcasts mysteriously cut out? Some say it's just a loss of signal, but many believe these interruptions happen precisely when something unexplainable appears on camera, like an unidentified object crossing the frame. Coincidence, or an attempt to hide something bigger? That question is the fuel that keeps so many theories alive. And the original moon landing footage? That's another goldmine. NASA admitted to losing the original tapes and had to rely on secondhand recordings to reconstruct them. This didn't just add fuel to the doubts of those who already questioned the event's authenticity. It also opened the door to even bolder speculations. Some people believe the landing was staged in a studio. What do you think? It's hard not to raise an eyebrow at such glaring inconsistencies. Moreover, we have the classified files from Soviet space missions. Many documents were only declassified after Glasnost and continue to spark debates today. Why so much secrecy? What are governments trying to hide? Whether on the moon, Mars, or even Venus, space seems full of secrets, not just about the planets, but also about the motives of space agencies themselves. This naturally brings us to the broader question of the historical and geopolitical impact of these discoveries. Our next stop in this journey. The space race wasn't just a technological battle. It was a direct reflection of the geopolitical tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. It wasn't just about putting satellites or humans into space. It was about proving who had the power and intellect to lead the future. Every achievement, like the launch of Sputnik I or the moon landing, carried immense political weight, serving as a global demonstration of strength. The Soviets, with their groundbreaking feats like putting the first man in space, Yuri Gagarin, clearly led the way in the race's early stages. This rivalry didn't just shape history. It influenced science, culture, and even education worldwide. In the United States, for instance, the Soviet successes spurred the creation of NASA and a revamp of the education system, with a stronger emphasis on science and engineering. On the Soviet side, space became a symbol of national pride. The Venera missions and Mars explorations weren't just scientific breakthroughs. They were clear messages to the world that the Soviet Union had the capability to go further, not just in space, but also in global politics. But the impact didn't end with the Cold War. Even today, much of what was developed during that era remains the foundation of modern space technology. Think of satellites, GPS, and even the concept of international cooperation in space. Interestingly, Much of what was discovered and developed remained classified for decades, raising questions about how space can be used not just as a realm of knowledge, but also as an extension of political influence. And with that, we circle back to the secrets and mysteries of the universe that continue to inspire curiosity and wonder to this day. And now, after delving into these mysteries and revelations, the question remains, what will you do with all this knowledge? Will you let it fade like secrets kept hidden for decades, or will you use it to see the universe and life with a fresh perspective? After all, it's not every day that you get the chance to connect the dots between the space race, Venus and Mars explorations, and even the conspiracies that intrigue us so much. Think carefully. What's stopping you from questioning more, exploring more, truly diving into the stories the world tries to keep hidden? Are we really living up to the potential the cosmos offers, or are we just scratching the surface? Change begins when we decide to go beyond the obvious, beyond what's handed to us as absolute truth. So, the final question is, are you ready for that? If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss any content that will transform the way you see the universe. Because believe me, there's still so much more to come. Until next time, and remember, the greatest secret is the one that hasn't been discovered yet.